Hey, you guys, and welcome back to the World of Filara, and welcome to the very first episode of Conscious Curiosity. Oh, this is I don't know, the fourth time around I've tried to do a podcast. 3 other times, admittedly, I tried to do it with friends, but no. It is what it is, you guys. The universe decides, okay? So here I am, and I'm finally like, you know what? I'm just going to do it with myself. I do want to do one with my bestie in Malaysia because that's just going to be a fun one. But it's really time that I just get on with this myself, right? And also, I'm trying to think of, okay, what's the setup here? I do want it to be visual, of course, because I'm going to be posting on YouTube and stuff. For those of you who aren't listening on YouTube, I'm also going to post it everywhere else, just as audio too. But YouTube and maybe TikTok or whatever is where you guys are going to get the visual side of it. But I also thought, hey, it'll be a good excuse to do some art as well. Why not? So I'm sat in front of the green screen. I have no idea how this is going to show up on the screen, but my avatar is somewhere around. Topher, she's Topher. I thought it would just be a good excuse to do some art, right? So I've created this room. As you can see, I've put my little knickknacks everywhere. I spent until like 2 o'clock last night, 2 o'clock in the morning, sorry. I spent until 2 o'clock in the morning doing all the retexturing for the books and for the posters. I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to make it still my room. Do you know what I mean? Just in the 3D metaverse, alternate universe style, right? That's pretty much what my digital avatar is all about. All right. She just lives out my fantasies and my dreams that I can't necessarily do in this physical 3D plane. And I love her for it. So let's talk about this podcast, you guys. What's this going to be about? As you can probably tell from the title, Conscious Curiosity, right? That's pretty much just me in a nutshell. I love everything from a curious perspective. That doesn't mean I agree with everything. That doesn't mean that I like everything. That I know things are not good in this world, but I still find it incredibly curious how humans are, the human condition, the human experience, the human perception, right? And how you can't necessarily boil that down into just one thing because we're all uniquely having our own individual experience. 2 people, 10 people experiencing exactly the same situation in the same moment, at the same place, in the same time, can still have 10 different, completely different perspectives, and then obviously different outcomes and different. They can interpret that differently into their experiences. Isn't that fascinating? I just find that fascinating, right? Now, I'm also a person that kind of understands that okay, if the universe exists, then almost everything that is here is some kind of resource. Even if it's um, something like science, which is really important, of course, or maths, which tells us how the universe works and what goes where and how this does this and sometimes why it does that as well, etc. The natural cycle, the cycle of life and death and things like that. That's just totally obvious almost, right? Well, maybe for some people it's obvious what it is that the universe is trying to tell us, right? That's very direct information. But I also do believe vehemently that we can also be getting it from the smallest things too, right? Like the food that we cook, or the clothes that we wear, or the movies that we watch, and the video games that we play, because I'm a huge nerd. That's just, obviously I'm looking at it still through my lens, so I only really have my angles, my perspectives, my analogies, my experiences. But I just honestly believe that everything in this world, I can't sit down and just watch a TV show, even something, um, I don't know, I'm trying to think of, like back in the day in the 2000s when you would watch, like, I don't know, an American crimes comedy kind of thing, you know? And it's designed, you're supposed to put it on and you just get lost in the world. And I'm like, yeah, I'm forgetting about the rest of my life for 20 minutes while this is on. But I still end up watching it and I'm just like, oh, what am I learning from this? What can I take from this? Is there somebody in my life who maybe has had this experience or has a similar story? I'm not necessarily looking for the lesson that applies necessarily to me. It doesn't always need to be work like that. But I just find that I can't switch off from wondering, from having a conscious curiosity. Right. Now, another thing I do want to point out when we say conscious curiosity as well, specifically that word conscious, because my mum has this, she's very superstitious. We're going to talk about my mum a lot in this podcast. I love you so much, mama, but it needs to be spoken about. Okay. So my mum is incredibly superstitious, just sort of, she would call it old fashioned and stuff, where curiosity killed the cat. Right. And I don't even think it's superstition. I think she's just sort of programmed that way. especially being a white woman and growing up in the place that she did in a very small white community and stuff. And then she moved to Gloucester, where I am now. She moved, and Gloucester is like what's the word? It's like a stew pot. It's like a hot pot. It's potluck, right? You put your hand in and you put your spoon in, and you don't know what you're going to get out of there, because we've got so many different nationalities, we've got so many different languages and religions and ethnicities and all of these different kinds of things, and everybody really does mix and match here as well. Do you know what I mean? That isn't to say that we haven't still dealt with things like racism and I don't want to say segregation, that's not the word, but separation and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm very lucky to have grown up here, because it makes you very open-minded. It makes you more likely to not be afraid of others, in inverted commas, right? I'm doing hand apostrophes right now because it still does exist, right? And we're going to talk about all these things too. I mean, the point of this podcast is to go over everything, right? As many things as possible. This is not going to be a podcast focused on one specific channel, like politics or science or art. We're doing everything, right? I mean, one podcast might be about an entire movie that I just want to talk about. This is the point. I just have so many things I want to talk about, so many things I need to say. I'm yammering away all day on TikTok when I do TikTok live, but it's just not the right place. I'm starting to realize, right? I can still make videos on TikTok. I can do these lives if I wanted to and stuff. But I just noticed that because a lot of what I do over there is spiritual, advice and mentorship, and then obviously tarot reading as well, which I combine with psychology and human behavior and things like that. So people kind of have, it's my own fault really. When they come to me, that's what they're used to. Do you know what I mean? So I don't always have time in a TikTok live to be able to drag out a topic the way that I want to give the analogies and the metaphors that I want to, which is, again, that is a massive part of how I work when I'm explaining and describing things to people, right? I'll try and find as many ways as I can. Do you know, like this movie? Like, oh, you must have seen that episode. Do you know, like this character? I'm trying to find something that they actually do pay attention to, like this celebrity or this story. Do you remember this from when you were a child? Or I'm trying to relate it back to something that they actually have an interest in, that doesn't necessarily put them off by saying things like psychology and human behavior. That can put people off, right? They end up thinking that it's work and that it's effort, which of course it is. But if we can frame that in a way that appeals to something, in a way that they already love to learn or take in information, then we should be doing that, right? So the thing is, sorry, I've gotten off topic. The thing is, on TikTok live, I just don't always have time to do that, because people are throwing their questions. Most of them just want yes or no's. We're going to be talking about this. My experience on TikTok and as a tarot reader has just massively opened my eyes to a lot, but just how deeply ingrained a belief system can be into a whole community, a whole society, right? Even an unhealthy belief system. I find that fascinating. Again, we'll talk about it. It's going to be a whole subject. It's going to be a whole podcast of its own, right? So that's why I'm doing this podcast, is because this gives me a chance to take one of those topics or one of those questions that I get asked, or one of those curiosities that I have, where it's just like, oh, that's so interesting about humans. Why do we do such things, right? So, for example, one thing that comes to mind is I always wonder, how is it so easy for us to put so much time and effort and control into situations that we don't really want anyway, right? So, for example, my best friend is going through this at the moment. Actually, all three of my closest best friends are going through this right now concerning work, two specifically. But my roommate, flatmate best friend, he's going through this right now with his career, where he's kind of coming to a conclusion that no matter how much he tries to go for not the rat race necessarily, but to go for a job and a position and a situation work-wise that gives him, enough money for everything that he needs, and then a whole bunch more as well, like sort of ascending from survival into comfort and then up into abundance, etc., etc. it is kind of the rat race, I suppose, but he's not like on the corporate ladder in that sense. So he has no interest in the corporate world, but he is constantly struggling with this feeling of um, this situation is being placed in front of me. And no matter, like, I'm trying to control it, I'm trying to make it look a certain way. He keeps saying things like, hold on a sec. I want to make sure I get it right. He keeps saying things like, if they could just give me a job like this, or if I could just go in and do X, Y, and Z and get paid for that, then I would be happy. Right. And I'm like, well, that's all well and good. Like, I totally see what, and I'm not saying that's impossible. He's very good at what he does. He's totally worth the money. And he's starting to know that about himself too, as well. It's not, and that's a massive, huge step for him. Right. But he's starting to realize that no matter how he comes at this, it's just not going to make him happy, because at the end of the day, that's not what he wants to do with this life. This specific situation, this career path, this job, it's just not what he wants to do with this life. Like, I'm not saying he wants to do this, but bro wants to be on screen. He wants to be on camera. He wants audiences. He wants laughter. He wants bounce back. He'd be such a good talk show host and just, a friend of Hollywood kind of thing. Right. But he's got integrity, he's got honesty, he's not necessarily he's in that world, but he's not of that world. Do you know what I mean? I think he would be brilliant. I think he would be absolutely brilliant. And it's so clearly obvious also to everyone else around him, including at the current job that he's at, would totally say, oh my gosh, that's what you should be doing. You would be amazing at it, you know? And so back to my original point, one of the biggest fascinations I have is how much time and effort that, for example, he can put into trying to control how the situation looks, trying to control, if I could just have, okay, fine, if this is the situation I've got to have, which isn't really what I want, if I could just make it look this way, if I could just control it in this way, and the amount of time and effort that goes into that, which he doesn't even want, which ultimately he knows that's not what he wants. And how is it, as a human beings, we can't take all of that energy, all of that determination, all of that what's the word? Sometimes desperation, and put it towards the things that we do want. Like, I find that very curious, right? I think maybe it's because society, I don't know. Society doesn't place merit and achievement and success on, personal paths and personal passions that don't create essentially immediate results, kind of. Do you know what I mean? That's sort of what the rat race is. That's sort of this mentality of, just go out, just get the job, whether you get a corporate job or not, whatever, even if you just get a job in the supermarket or something like that, or just go out, just earn money, make the money, build, not even build yourself up, because obviously when you get there, that's not the reality of it necessarily. Right? But the idea is to just keep plodding and plodding and building, and unless you have something to show for it, then you haven't done it. Or unless you have something to show for it, then it's not successful, right? Where it's crazy to me, because my best friend's dreams of being a talk show presenter, entertainer, personality, TV personality, are just as achievable as him doing what he's doing right now, right? Like, there is actually not really any difference between the two, other than the current path that he's on is the obvious one that presents immediate results. You go to school, you leave, you get your extra qualifications, then you go higher education, get your degree, boom, here's the job, biff, baff, boom. It's like, it's set for you. Do you know what I mean? Well, if I go in this direction, then I have step 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. I can see it all laid out in front of me, and that's exactly how it's going to go. But when it comes to him being a TV personality, there's not really a 10-step plan. You could try and have a 10-step plan, and to the logical mind, though, or to the programmed mind, it's less likely, because that 10-step plan isn't as obvious, right? Like that 10-step plan to being a TV personality isn't as obvious and logical and um, specific as the current path that he's taking, right? But if you took all of the energy, because the thing is, you still are ending up at the point, even if you go along this path, there's no direction that you come at this where you're satisfied, because you know in the depths of you, and increasingly more and more every day, that the other thing is what you want to be doing. Do you know what I mean? So no amount of money, no amount of changing around the job, no amount of adjusting, no amount of micromanaging and trying to have control over every tiny thing, including just the day, getting through the day, is actually going to make this any better. Right? All you're doing is essentially numbing it down. Can I numb this experience enough that I can tolerate it? I can tolerate the reality of being in that position, in that job, in that on that path, and not on the path of my dreams. That's what we're doing. Oh my gosh, I think I just figured it out. I think I just figured it out. There's a whole bunch more reasons, of course. This goes a lot deeper than just these things. But this is why I wanted to do this podcast. I have these conversations in my head all the time, and I'm just rifling through and, talking to the universe. I do research all of the time. I love looking stuff up. The internet is both the greatest and the worst thing that's ever happened to the human race. Do you know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Obviously, medical advancements and all of those things and blah, blah, blah. I get it. But, oh, the internet, I love you. I hate you. You are the best and the worst thing that has ever happened to the human race. And I'm so here for it, man. I'm so here for it. So, yeah, this is kind of, you're experiencing what this podcast really is, you guys. Excuse my chair. I do need to get a new one. You're going to hear it squeaking for a while until I get a new one, okay? So subscribe and like the video and stuff so we can get the subs up, so then I can monetize and buy a new chair. Okay? Thank you. So that's kind of what this podcast is, you guys. It's a chance. Oh my gosh, has that been in my hair the whole time? I can't even tell. Is it just shut? No. Wait, is it just shine? Or is it tissue? Hold on. I think it's tissue. Yeah. That comes with the allergies, you guys. All right? Here's my box of tissues. I'm just shaking it for those who are listening. That's halfway empty. My allergies are going to be a whole episode, you guys. Wow, that's going to be fun. So yeah, this podcast. To be honest with you, I think it's going to be a really good spot for me to get out all of me ADHD thoughts. Do you know what I mean? Like 1,000 flies banging around inside my brain like ping pong balls. Okay, it used to be a problem. Now I love it and I consider it a superpower. But I definitely still need a place to be able to blur. Do you know what I mean? So I think right now this is not even about people watching or listening or anything like that. Do you know what this is about? It's about me talking. I just need to get it out of my system. And that you just experienced me talking about my best friend and unraveling, some kind of question that I have. Why is it so easy for human, or why is it perceivably that we keep going and putting more effort into what we don't want than what we do want, and then me talking it through and, coming from different angles, asking questions, and then boom, I end up at the point where I'm like, oh yeah, actually that makes so much sense. I still don't get why we're doing it. Actually, there's a whole bunch of reasons why we're doing it. But I ended up at the conclusion of this is essentially kind of what we're doing, right? Which is quite sad when you think about it. So that's going to be a whole topic on its own, right? I mean, this is just introductory episodes. I'm kind of just blathering things along right now. Also testing out the setup and stuff like that, I wanted a way of working in my art so I have an excuse to do it. Boom, got the background. I don't know how I'm going to fit in this. I might just be in the corner or something because I don't really want to get in the way too much. Do you know what I mean? I want the excuse to be able to do my art, you guys. So just saying. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to have a space and give myself the space and the platform to deep dive on certain topics, to deep dive on certain questions, my questions that I have and questions that I get asked on the regs. Do you know what I mean? Do you know which question I get asked the most, you guys? ADHD thought incoming, right? That's what it is. The fly just bounced off another thing and now my brain's going in a different direction. Do you know the question I get asked the most as a tarot reader, right? Specifically as a tarot reader. And we're going to talk about the toxic tarot community, all right? Because it's toxic. You're toxic. You've been under system, your poison paradise. See? I also have musical Tourette's too. That's not a thing, but it is a thing. Because I can't help it. You hear a word, you see a thing, something happens, boom, the song comes out, and you have to sing. Anyway, so this is the reality of my life. This is the reality of my life. I don't even remember what I was saying. That's the ADHD, yo. Don't even remember what I was saying because my brain's gone somewhere else. Oh, yeah. Giving myself the space and the platform, to be able to drag out a subject. So, speaking of, specifically the one question that I get asked the most, and I don't necessarily want to address this question like, oh, let me answer the question for you. But what I do want to talk about is why this question comes up so much. Okay? And it is the question, is blank, insert name here, coming back soon? Am I going to be with blank again? Will I reconcile with blank? Kitty blankety blank. Blankety blank, blankety blank. Blankety blank, blankety. Why? That needs to be a whole topic. Do you know what? I'm actually just going to go get a book right now. No, a notepad. I have a cat on my lap, so here, let me take a video of her so you guys can see. You can see my setup. Look at this. I got my old phone so I can like video other stuff. If you ain't on YouTube right now, this is then. Let me talk properly with my tongue. Tip of the tongue, teeth in the lips. Thank you so much. I have my old phone so I can take a video, but if you're not on YouTube, this isn't for you, okay? Sorry, you guys. Look, see? Hello, there's me. Yo. And boom. This is what I have on my lap right now. Are you beautiful? Yeah. I hate when she's on my lap though, because I don't want to disturb her. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, I'm going to have to because I want to go and grab a notebook, notepad, notebook. Right. So this is also something that I really wanted to do too, because I noticed my favorite podcast is from the Oast House with Alan Partridge. And because Alan Partridge, in case you didn't know, is literally my favorite fictional human being on the planet. Maybe my favorite human being, fictional or not, on the planet. I literally love him to death. And one thing that he does in his podcast is like he takes you out and about. Like it's not just a podcast where he's sitting inside the studio or inside his he's got a studio, yeah. And I was like, that's something I want to do. Do you know what I mean? I can just insert things into the podcast while you guys are listening and stuff. So right now, I am rifling through my notebook drawer, looking for an empty one. What have I got? Should I use Leo? Let's use Leo. Why not? It matches my hair today because my lion's mane is out. Okay, as you can see, I have not properly producted and whatever'd my hair today, but I'm also at the point too where I'm like, oh, I don't care. I love it. I literally don't care. Sometimes I'm gonna do my hair. Sometimes it's gonna be scraped up by like my ballerina bun. Other times I'll have my makeup on and I'll be doing it. Look at this. I can't be bothered today. Like I just want to be me. Gotta be me. Gotta be I. Gotta be who I know I am inside. Anyway, that's the musical Tourette's. Literally, I have no idea who on earth would actually be listening to me. But you know what? I'm going to find my tribe. I'm finding my tribe. All right, so we've got my Leo notebook. It says 23rd of July to the 22nd of August, but kind of changes all the time. And it really depends on how you're looking at the thing or whatever. But I'm definitely a Leo because I'm on 14th. So I'm only a Leo sun. Don't get me started on how irrelevant it is to just look at your sun, moon, and rising or whatever. All right? Don't even get me started on how everyone is reading their birth chart wrong. Okay, not everyone, but still. I just have a unique way of doing it, and it makes a difference. Guys, if you're just reading your horoscope based on your sun and your moon and your rising, like, come on. Horoscopes are pointless, okay? And I'm a spiritual detective. I love all that crap, and horoscopes are pointless. Unless you're going to do it properly, okay? So, we have here Leo, warm, driven, generous, enthusiastic. Yeah? But then show me every sign. Actually, not every sign. There are some signs that I want to be more of. I want to be more Capricorn. I love Capricorn, it's my favorite. I love Capricorn so much, right? I'm enough Sagittarius, though. That one I love. I love my North Node in Sagittarius. Do you know what I mean? And to fully embrace it, like, by the time I'm 32. Do you know what I mean? That's massive. That's huge. I'm so ready. Goodbye, South Node. See you later. Anyway, so we've got it here. This is me. I'm just going to write notes down. I need to get a pen. Hold on. I have special, not special pens. I just have my favorite pens, right? The Papermate Flexi Grips. Seriously? And I'm a sucker too. Oh, I just moved the mic. Sorry. I'm a sucker too for having the right pen with the right paper. And my favorite combination is the Papermate Flexi Grip with the Oxford paper. Do I have any Oxford paper? The Oxford campus paper? Sorry about my squeaky chair. Yes, I do. Oh my gosh, let's use that one. Why are we using this stinky book? Sorry, Leo. You can go away now. I want the campus notebook, yo. Like, the best paper in the world is Oxford paper. I think it's like 80. Is it 80? I don't know. 90. Oh, guys, that's a whole extra 10 GSMs. I mean, GMs. This one's not GSM. Oh, don't even start, right? Don't even start me. Okay, so this, if you guys don't know, this is the Oxford. Again, not for those of you who are not watching on YouTube, right? It's the best paper in the whole wide world, with the best pen in the whole wide world. And what I love about it, let me just show you one awesome thing. Oh, I've made a lot of notes in here already. Check it out. Do you see these four corners here? This one, this one, this one, and this one. So if you get the app, which I can't remember what it's called, I think it's just the Oxford Notes app or something like that. If you get the app, you can scan the page into the app, right? So you have all your notes on in the cloud, or you can just put it into presentations, or you can just look at it online or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on. That's levels of organizational forethought and precision that I like, okay? I'm an organizational freak. I'm a freak. The way you pop it and drop it all over me with your organizational skills. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. Podcast topics. All right. Okay. Got podcast topics down. What was I just saying a minute ago? Okay. Why does everyone want to reconcile? Like, I asked that question so many times. Oh, I have another one. Why do people hate aging? That's a big one for me. That's a big, massive one for me, right? So I'm guessing YouTube knows I'm a female, right? All my what do I say? All my socials. I literally only use TikTok and YouTube because I hate the other ones. Okay, might try Blue Sky, but it's confusing. So TikTok, the algorithms know that I'm female because obviously I put that in. Like, whatever, I'm a girl. Fine, that's fine. So it's going to tailor certain content to me based on that, especially obviously advertising, right? Of course, that's how the algorithm works. Algorithm 101. But you know what's really annoying? Is because it knows how old I am. I'm 32. It knows how old I am because obviously my date of birth is in there and stuff, right? And I have put it in there correctly because I have no reason to lie. So it's assuming, sorry, I'm clicking my pen. I need a fidget thingy. um, um, it's assuming that because I've reached that age, I'm starting to think about aging stuff. Because the only thing it ever talks about constantly is constantly anti-aging all of the time, right? And if it's not anti-aging, then it's some kind of grooming, beauty thingy. Like the weird electro thingy that, I don't know, some people putting on their cheeks, or some kind of weird laser thingy to get rid of all of the hair on your legs and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, what? Why does everybody hate aging? Eva Longoria came up the other day and was just like, now that I'm over 40, I'm starting to notice circles in my... I'm like, no, what? What? This is just my face. This is my face. Okay, again, you can't see it if you're not on YouTube, but head over to YouTube, you can see my face. This is my face, okay? I got scars, I got dark spots, I got hyperpigmentation. I've had freckles like everywhere for my whole freaking life. I have a skin tag, just like Lady Gaga, yo, in exactly the same place, and I love it so much. It's okay. Like, what? What is this thing with the constant look perfect all of the time? Specifically, when you hit a certain age, stop aging right now. Do not get a single wrinkle for some reason. I don't know why. I literally do not. Oh, wait. It's so other people don't have to look at your wrinkles, right? Because if nobody else in the world existed, you wouldn't give a crap about your wrinkles. You just think your wrinkles are offensive to everyone else. If you lived on a desert island, yeah, who gives a crap about your wrinkles? It's because, someone else is going to see them and they might be, I don't know, offended or something. That person has a line on their face. Oh my gosh, I can't. I can't even look at them right now. Somebody put onions in my eyes. Oh my Lord, calm them. So another topic is, why do we hate aging so much? Because I've also noticed something too. Why are kids trying to act like they're 30 already? Are we just missing out, like, the whole, like, awkward teenage stage? Are we just trying to skip over the whole teenager thing or whatever? Because I'm pretty sure 10-year-olds want freaking anti-aging stuff now, right? And things to... What? Your skin is so pure. It hasn't been... What do you do? No. You eat right, you drink right, you sleep right, you wash right. And yeah, absolutely moisturizing. I think that it's great that kids are getting more into things like sun cream and things like that. That was obviously something I was not taught growing up, especially as a brown kid. Do you know what I mean? It was not something that I was taught growing up, and it's had an effect. Like, so things like that, I totally get it, man. You do you. But why are you worrying about looking like you're 50 when you're 12? Because you're 12. I love it. I don't love it because it's not healthy, but I love it because I get to be alive and be fascinated by it. I get to just ask questions and be like, huh? Oh, I need a drink. Yeah, this is definitely going to be more Alan Partridge podcast style, especially for those of you who are listening. I'm not sitting here with some notes and some list of things like, these are points that I want to make. Or at least not for this first episode, anyway. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's probably enough anyway. What do you reckon? Half an hour at first? If I want to go longer, I can go longer. It's just an introductory episode, isn't it? All right, let's put that over there. So, I'm giving myself a list of things to do. We've got a couple of topics already we can be talking about, but next time I think I want to talk about toxic tarot community. I didn't write that down. Hold on. Oh, actually, let's call it toxic positivity. Because that one needs dealing with. Faux show. Oh, you want to be happy? You want to change your life? Oh, well, guess what? guess what? You can just do it overnight by pretending. Fake it till you make it. Just ignore all of the other things. Just pretend that your belief systems don't exist. Pretend all your societal and gender programming does not exist. Pretend that all of your childhood trauma and all of your expectational understanding of what this world wants from you, pretend it doesn't exist. Yeah, we're not actually going to deal with it. We're just going to pretend. And then we'll get there. No. We're going to deal with toxic positivity because that is a huge one. And I think it's a really great place to start as well, right? I just want you guys to have the real version, right? When I complain about romance and relationships, which is also another huge topic. Damn it, I need to write that down. Hold on one sec. Romance, capital letters. Romance is not real. And I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but it's okay. We're gonna be okay. Okay? Because romance, it is real, yeah? But the romance that we are taught that romance is, and the romance that currently we are all seeking for, that is so very sought after, that romance is not real, okay? So again, I am going to sound incredibly negative all of the time when I say this isn't real and wake up from the matrix and come on, it's just capitalism and it's I just want us to have the real version, but we're going to have to deal with this crap first. It's about asking the questions and being genuinely, consciously curious. I am open-minded enough to know that I don't know everything. But I am strong and secure in myself, confident and trusting enough in myself to know where I stand, right? Which I understand. Like some people get scared because it's like, well, if you investigate the topic, I love cults, for example. We're going to do a whole massive thing on cults and the MAGA cult. That's going to be fun. I love cults, but I find them fascinating. And I can understand how my mum, she worries, or she doesn't anymore, but she used to worry about like one day me joining a cult or something like that. And it's not her obviously taking her perception and applying it to me, but it's like, no, I'm consciously awake and aware enough of myself, my beliefs, who I am, what I trust in and what I believe in. I'm not going to go into a cult. I just love to study them. I like that they exist because it proves things about human beings. And I like learning those things about human beings. Okay, so chillax, mama. I'm not going to join a cult. I'm not going to become some kind of radical something or other. I'm only ever just going to be me. Okay, but me is an explorer. Me is a detective. Me is an investigator. Me is a scientist and a mathematician and an artist and a spiritual, what's the word? Messenger or whatever. I'm a lot of things, you guys. This podcast is actually probably going to be really healthy for me. A lot of things that I just need to get off my chest. Not like in an emotional sort of, I need to tell you, no, just things I need to talk about. Just, I need to hear myself talking about. And eventually get some feedback on, because one of the greatest things about being online now, sharing myself and making videos and doing all that, is I find people who are just like me and I'm like, oh, I'm not an alien. There are literally so many other people out there who are just like me, and we all are totally different as well. We all come from different walks of life. We all have different perspectives and things like that or whatever, but they're not in the matrix. They're not swept up by the human condition. They are curiously aware. They are consciously curious, right? They have a conscious curiosity. Boom! I'm going to try and figure out a way of working that into every episode or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And also along the way, just teaching you guys how to be more consciously curious. It's safe. Conscious curiosity is actually safer than you think it is. But it's about being secure and confident and trusting in yourself and where you stand and who you are, so that no matter what comes along, it doesn't sway you. Do you know what I mean? The devil can walk right up to you in your face and say, follow me. And you're like, sorry. Did you think that I didn't know you were the devil? It's brilliant, you guys. Okay? I love this universe so much. I love you, Jeebus. I love you, God, and all of the things. Whatever you guys want to call it, right? I love it. Whatever you guys believe in, technically it's all the same thing. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, by the way. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of rambling along. But I think it's really time that I just do it without knowing what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? I can be perfect in my art. I can be perfect in my singing. I can be perfect in my something else. In my podcast, I don't want to be perfect. I just want to talk at you. Okay? So if you guys have any topics or any questions or anything like that, leave it down in the comments. If you guys are listening on some other platform, please, please, please go ahead, like it or follow the podcast or whatever. You can leave reviews. It would be really, really helpful if you guys could. Thank you so, so much. And I think we're going to aim for at least one a week. At least one a week. But right now, again, I'm not trying to be perfect. This is not going to have a schedule right now. I'm going to do them as and when I want to do them. But we are going to aim for at least one a week here as well. Okay. It's like, oh, I'm so excited. It still gives me an excuse to make more art. Yes. See? Flow. Ease. Flow. All I have to do is just be me. Okay, you guys, before I get blathering on anymore. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe and all of the things if you're on YouTube. Leave the review and all of that stuff. Even if you don't like the podcast, you can literally just leave a review and say STFU. Okay? It doesn't matter because it's still exposure, you guys. All right? I love you so much. And I will see you, talk to you, hear from to you. Wait a minute. I'll see you in the next one. All right.